All right. My name is Ramis Khan,
I'm
My,
Nico Fernandez.
my name is Sushan Chen.
and for our project, we decided to do memory loss. So, what is memory to begin with? Memory is an area within the brain that processes information and stores it over long periods of time. There are several different processes that allow a memory to become a memory. Memory has three main processes: encoding, storage, and retrieval. And for our project, we wanted to discuss memory loss as well as how does it occur, some commonly associated disorders, as well as ways to improve memory. So to begin with, we have encoding. Encoding is the process in which information is inputted into the memory system. Once we receive the information, our brains end up coding and processing it. There are two types of processing, effortful and automatic. Effortful processing is a process that requires a lot of work and attention to input the information to understand it, like studying for a bio exam. Automatic processing is information that's able to be processed and recalled quite easily. Some examples of that would be like details like time and space. There are several types of encoding: semantic, acoustic, and visual, which is words, sounds, and sight. Self-reference effect is the tendency for an individual to memorize information much better based on its relevance with the individual. For our first clicker question, why does student A recall only part of what they learned yesterday after studying a lot of the material the day before? And the answer to that is C. A large amount of learning in the short period of time leads to encoding failure in the brain, so that knowledge is not preserved as long-term memory. The second clicker question, which of the following is a type of automatic processing? The answer for that is C, introducing yourself to the new semester. Storage is the creation of a permanent record of information. In order for memory to go into storage, it has to pass through three stages. First stage is sensory memory. It's a brief storage of sensory events like such as smell or something of that variety, and it only retains in the memory for a few seconds. The second stage is short term, which is activated memory, and it holds few items briefly for 20 to 30 seconds. The third stage is long term, which is achieved through rehearsal of short term memory, and it is relatively permanent and it's limitless. Rehearsal is a repeated active retrieval of a memory or repeated association of a memory to a memory that's meaningful, and it's vital for the storage of long term memory. Retrieval is our ability to retrieve information from long-term memory, and it's vital to our everyday functioning. And you must be able to retrieve information from memory in order to do everyday activities like brushing your hair and teeth, to driving to work, to knowing how to do your job. There are three types of long-term memory storage systems to retrieve information from. You have recall, recognition, and relearning. Recall is a process most often associated when we talk about memory retrieval. It means you can access information without cues. Recognition is the process of identifying information that you previously learned. Relearning is just, well, learning information that you've already known. So clicker question number 3, what's the process in which you're able to access information without the use of cues? The answer for that is recall.
Parts of the brain. Parts of the brain that serve a role in memory. Amygdala. The role of the amygdala in memory is to regulate emotions. And since memory storage is influenced by stress hormones, its purpose is to put emotion into memories. And the amygdala is the reason for fear in general, like the fear of bears or any phobia like that. The hippocampus. The purpose of the hippocampus with memory is with normal recognition as well as spatial memory, such as recalling tasks and recalling places that we visit frequently. It also protects memories by pairing them with other memories. The cerebellum and prefrontal cortex. This is the region that processes and retains information. Clicker question 4. Which of the following is not one of the three main processes of the memory? The answer is B, recognition. What is memory loss and how can it occur? Memory loss is the process in which the individual cannot recall information from their short-term memory. There are several reasons as to why this might happen. Amnesia, the loss of long-term memory due to disease, blunt force trauma, or psychological trauma. There are two types of amnesia. Anterograde amnesia, which is when you cannot remember new information, but you can remember old information, and retrograde amnesia. You cannot remember old information, but you can remember new information. Forgetting is a process of not being able to recall long-term information. The formulation of new memories is called construction, and the process of bringing up old information is called reconstruction. Clicker question 5. You wake up one morning after a fall and find that you don't remember anything, including your name. You begin to discover your own personal information by asking those around you, what kind of memory loss is this? The answer is B, retrograde amnesia. What is the process of forgetting? Forgetfulness occurs after the dendrites between neurons form a memory. What initially happens is that if the information is not being used for a while, related dendrites grow to find new patterns to learn, and the dendrites eventually decay. However, if the information is not used for a long period of time, the associated dendrites links may be inhibited or disrupted, which lead to forgetting. That's the decaying of the dendrites. An example would be when you use your conceptual memory that is frequently used during rapid thinking. It can suppress the growth of its dendrites and synapses, allowing the flow of signals to flow smoothly and less likely to interfere. When a conceptual memory is not being used for a long time, its dendrites grow to find new patterns to learn. In this process, you have not forgotten the information you remembered before. Instead, you start to have a vague image of the memory in your head. The feral child study. The study of Jeannie Wiley starts with her parents locking her in a single room for 13 years. Jeannie's parents would give her minimal food, and whenever Jeannie made a sound, her father would beat her. After 13 years of torment and neglect, Jeannie could not talk. She weighed about 59 pounds, and researchers described her as having a bunny walk. A social worker discovered Jeannie, and her story was revealed to the world on November 4th, 1970. Initially, researchers found that Jeannie scored at the same level as a 1-year-old. Jeannie continued to work with researchers, teachers, therapists, and many professionals that would help her learn. Jeannie began to learn rapidly with certain topics such as learning to dress herself, identifying new objects, and using the toilet. But language was a very hard subject for her to learn. Clicker question 6. What occurs between the neurons when Jeannie learns to dress herself, identifying objects, and using the toilet? The answer is A, sprouting. Feral child study, Jeannie Wiley. Jeannie was denied social interactions, math learning, and everything a child receives for optimal brain growth and neural connection. Neural connections are made through learning and activities such as art or confronting academic and social challenges. When these neural connections are made, they harden, and the more the neurons are used, the neurons reinforce themselves and solidify even further. This process is called sprouting. On the contrary, when learning does not occur and the neural connections are not made and reinforced, the neurons begin to decay. This process is called pruning. Clicker question 7. What part of the memory process is Jeannie blocked from if her neurons are decayed? The answer is B, encoding.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Before we go into next case, let's go to a quick knowledge check. The hippocampus and temporal lobes are responsible for which process in human memory, respectively? And the answer is D. Okay, let's go to next case. The man with no past. SV, a 46-year-old man, lost all of his memory after falling down in the bathroom. After waking up from the hospital, SB lost all of his memories before the accident, including his name, family, skills he had learned, like how to fly the plane. However, his language system is still normal, and he can remember events that occur after waking up from the hospital. A SPECT scan result shows that SB virtually had no blood flow into the right temporal lobe, while blood flow to the hippocampus and corresponding area in the medulla temporal lobe remain normal. This case demonstrates that the hippocampus can form and write memories while the temporal lobe is the hippocampus can form and write memories, while the temporal lobe is responsible for preserving long-term memories. and the process of remembering. When people try to remember information, new and specific synapses connections are established between neurons. When a person wants to remember multiple things, those individual synaptic connections then connect with each other to form a network. When you need to recall a specific content, the entry point of memory can be other nodes on the network. This process is called association. That's why we can recall the whole event only by a little hint. With association, this is where classical and operant conditioning occur. And for some ways to improve memory, for example, like rehearsal, the constant repetition of memory, or chunking, breaking the information apart and study a certain part of the word day by day, or elaborated rehearsal, pairing previous information with new information to help establish a connection with material. And let's go to the conclusion. In conclusion, memory loss is a vast problem that scientists still explore today. It can cause by many reasons, such as the process of entering information into your brain incorrectly, or by a problem with the internal function of the brain. With the amount of issues it can relate it to, it's truly quite enigma how memory loss can occur, as there's still no proper method of researching it. Thank you.